Welcome to the SMX Insider post-race show. Everything you could ask for in a day of pro motocross racing happened at today's UFOplast High Point National. They're bordering on 50 years of history at this track, and it's like, why not take all 49 years they've had so far and just roll it into one? Sunshine, great racing, huge crowd, celebration, and then some wild weather at the end. That's everything High Point has known to bring to the fans, who have now quickly exited the facility. And this post-race show going to look a little different than some of the others. We don't get to do the podium today because of lightning and a little bit of rain as well. Jason Wygand, James Stewart here, Katie Osborne and Jason Thomas will be reporting from the paddock, and some just happy to find some easy ups to get out of the rain. Yeah. So this is a wild one, James. You've raced them all at High Point. I'm sure you've had a couple mud races here yourself. Also some races in the sunshine, like today. But somehow, despite all that, the overall winners are the same guys that keep winning overalls anyway.
Yeah, I told you, I always said you put two barrels on a flat field, it ain't going to make no difference. Somehow the best is going to rise to the top, and we saw that in that 450, especially that second moto, Jet Lawrence. And, yeah, another day. Yeah, it is lightning back there, people. Hopefully we don't get struck out of here right now. Boom.
That wasn't CGI. That's the real thing behind us. Okay, but like we said, the highlights are going to show you familiar winners. Here's what it looked like at High Point, round 4 of the Pro Motocross Championship, all part of the SMX World Championship. Hayden Deegan took a defeat last week. Could Jet Lawrence keep his string alive in the 450 class? Well, off the gate, it was a good start for Jorge Prado, but Jet able to get the early lead.
Yeah, we've been talking about Jorge needs to find that confidence. Maybe a start would do that, but it obviously didn't. But it was Jet Lawrence out front, getting around him, and then it was Justin Cooper, which was our fastest qualifier, making his way around Jet Lawrence early in the race. But as quickly as he was there, Jet Lawrence got back out front, and then the kid would put down some laps. And it was Aaron Plessinger, after seeing that, he wanted to go after Jet Lawrence after last weekend being so close in that first moto. Maybe AP was a little bummed on the weather, but he wanted to get some action. Then Hunter Lawrence went after Justin Cooper. Justin had a opening few laps, a couple of rough opening laps with these guys getting around, continued attacking him. And then, then the race was going on. Then it was my brother getting cross-rided. Yeah, that is real. That's not a rag dog, even though it looked like it. Tough break for Malcolm, getting handlebar to the chin, ended up with some stitches. Then it was the moment of the race. Jet Lawrence was out front, cruising, stalled the motorcycle. He said he had too much weight on the bike. If you believe it or not, he stalls it, ends up letting his older brother go by, but none to be denied. That number 18 took a couple corners to relax, got it back going, and this kid was just, once he got going, man, no one can stop him today as he makes his way for second place around his brother.
And not done, going after Plessinger for the lead.
Yeah, Aaron did a good job at actually holding Jet back for a few laps. Jet was making a few mistakes, but once that 18 saw the opportunity to make the pass for the lead, man, he did. And they were just so strong today. And Hunter was like, well, why not? I don't want to be the only brother that's not up there as well. Let's get it. Father's Day present. Let's go 1-2 for old daddy out there. And then Hunter Lawrence looked pretty good today, which is a good sign for the HRC Honda guys and Hunter Lawrence moving forward. But it was Jet Lawrence getting number 1. But first victory today, Moto 1, back on top again.
That would loom large for Moto 2. Now, you didn't see much of Eli Tomac in those highlights. Moto 1, he was 5th. A decent start for him. It's actually going to be Justin Cooper and Hunter Lawrence battling for the lead. Cooper Webb, Freddie Noren, Bryce Shelley, bunch of other riders down, but here's the big move. Tomac strikes at the same moment the rain comes down on the 3.
Yeah, Eli sensed that the storm was brewing, and he knew, you know, we talked to Katie in between the motor. She talked to the start race, and they were a little puzzled on what happened because Eli had the fastest lap time, was able to get close to Justin Cooper, couldn't make anything to do with it. So Eli came out this second moto, beast mode. It looked like he came out with a little bit of determination because once he was out front, he was able to get a gap on Hunter Lawrence, which did a good job at running second, but nobody was catching that number 3. Aaron Plessinger, super happy that it was raining, maybe not happy in a little bit as he's going to lose his goggles, but overall in the beginning part, Aaron had a good pace to run 3rd for a long time. Then it was Jet Lawrence just slowly making his way up through the field. Not the best start, but no mistakes as he gets around Jason Anderson, just cruising through. And there was a point where he comes by the mechanics area, points at his goggle because he pulls all his tear off, and we were wondering, here it is, points at his goggles, letting those guys know, might need to pull in, but he was still able to continue moving his way up. Justin Cooper goes to pull a tear off, looks up, he's going to see a clear vision of the 18 getting past, and that was going to do him right for the third place overall, but Jet Lawrence won a little bit more. He wanted to move his way up, and Aaron Plessinger was up front about 9 seconds ahead of him in that third place. And the reason that's important is because it would change the whole podium outlook. If Jet Lawrence would make the pass, which he does, coming up right here as the lap rider goes down, has to make a maneuver. Aaron Plessinger gets stuck in the rut, literally, with no goggles. Jet Lawrence makes his way around, and that changes everything for the overall, and that would put the 18 with a third place moto finish back on the top step of the podium for another overall victory, as Carlos and those guys, KTM gets the pit move of the year. Changed goggles, clean vision, but the only thing he was going to see was a red flag, because a lap after that, it was the race was over, red flag, lightning in the area, and then this was your overall winner coming across third place. But another 4th victory of the year, Jet Lawrence. All things changed, they remain the same, as you said. Take it home, baby. Happy Father's Day, Daddy. We got you one. And Hunter Lawrence, good job for 2nd on the podium. Eli Tomac rounds out the podium in 3rd place with a 5th and a 1st in that last moto. But it's going to be what could have been for Eli Tomac again.
For just about everybody. They were so close to getting Jet Lawrence again for the overall, but once again, Jet Lawrence with the win, 1-3, edging his brother by 1 point, and Tomac ends up, as you said, 3rd overall. A couple more moves in the first moto. Tomac could have gotten a 3rd, could have won it, but it didn't happen. Plessinger, Cooper, that 5-pack has been the top 5 in every race this year. Send it to Katie Osborne, who was with Eli Tomac.
Yeah, thanks, Weege. Eli Tomac standing by as a 3rd in the overall here today. A 1st in that moto, though. Congrats on that. How satisfied are you with the win, even though we obviously red flagged that race?
Well, mixed emotions on the day. Of course, good to finish on a high note there. Finally put myself in a reasonable position. I believe I was 2nd around that first turn, so that was so nice. And then, yeah, was happy with what was going on. And then, of course, the crazy rain started coming, and I was just focused on staying up, staying clean, staying up, and that's all I could do. And then, of course, the race was stopped, but happy overall in the day. Thank you, Monster Energy Star Yamaha, and would love the first one back, but hey, I think I got some things figured out now. We'll take it next weekend.
And hey, you told me earlier today the goal was to stay on 2 wheels, and cheers, success, you did that.
That's right, stayed up. So, yeah, we'll take it.
So that's Eli, who is still 2nd in the championship, pulling a little bit of distance on Plessinger now. But the problem is they're all more than a moto back of Jet Lawrence already. So we can check in now with the point leader and race winner, and also Hunter's with him as well. Jason Thomas has both the Lawrences. JT?
Thanks, Weege. Hunter Lawrence, you were so close to winning this overall, but talk about your race a little bit. You got great starts all day, but really High Point has been a great racetrack for you, and you know, kind of waiting for you to find your form again, but it was certainly here today.
Yeah, it was good. High Point's always been good to me. I like to think a good rider will be good no matter where he races. But yeah, we survived the weather. That was pretty wild then. No one really anticipated that much rain coming down, I don't think. So it was interesting, but yeah, happy to be leaving in one piece.
So weekend off, what does that look like for you? More work to get more comfortable on the race bike? Do you take some time off? What does a weekend off mean for you?
Yeah, just more laps, more familiarity. Go back, see the fam, the dogs. Yeah, it'll be good,
Congratulations on the day. We're going to turn to your brother, Jet, and talking off camera about you're finding more ways to win overalls here. Like, it just didn't seem like it was going to happen. You couldn't really see where you were going. You ran out of tear-offs, and then somehow you find a way to get into position 2 laps to go, and you get the job done. Now, my question is, was there any thought about pulling in for goggles as you saw AP doing it there? Because that would have likely cost you the overall.
You know, it didn't really cross my mind much because I didn't know how much longer we had in the moto. And I got to that position, I'm like, we need to stay here, you know. I was surprised I was able to get Justin and AP. He's the mud man, so that was almost like a small celebration itself, you know. AP was riding good, and I was able to capitalize on I had some really good lines. I was getting that tunnel jump still and getting those downward steps pretty well. But yeah, like I said, it was a nice sunny day, and then once that 30-second board came, it started pouring down, and that track went to mud and stopped very, very quickly. But happy day, 1-3, we'll take it. We don't know how we do it, but we'll take it.
So how aware were you as you're moving forward? Were you able to get messaging from Christian about the overall positioning and where you needed to get to?
I was 100% sure because I didn't know Eli was out front. I can only see Hunter in that bright A-Star gear, so I could see him, and I'm like, okay, he must be leading it. And I looked a little further, and then I saw Eli. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm third. And then I realized, okay, I got the overall. But yeah, I looked, and those guys were gone. So I was thinking I was like 20th when I looked over to see where they were. But no, we made a good charge through, and we're happy with this overall because we weren't. At one point, we definitely weren't going to get it.
Great job, Weege. Another great weekend here for the brothers Lawrence.
Yep, doesn't matter what year it is at High Point, they usually battle for the win, or even what class they're in. They usually battle. Happened again today. Kind of reminds me of a Jet's second 250 championship season where crazy stuff would happen, but he'd win the overall anyway. Happened today. Give you the SMX playoff schedule. It's going to start in September. Race in North Carolina, St. Louis, Missouri, Las Vegas, Nevada. Combine the points of Supercross and Motocross together. Cooper Webb's still on top, but I believe Justin Cooper made up another 11 today. He's now down just 36 to his teammate. Long way to go to the end of August when those points become seeding. Show you the highlights. 250 class High Point Raceway, round 4 of the Pro Motocross Championship. Beautiful weather in the morning. Lots of fans patrolling the pits, and then they would head to the fence lines to watch the motos. And a bit of a rematch after Chance Hymas got a big win last weekend over Hayden Deegan in Colorado. The question was, could Deegan fight back? There's Chance with his dad Chris picking a gate for the first moto. Didn't work out though with the start though.
Yeah, Chance has been riding good, especially his last few weeks, so you know he came in with the confidence, but it was Hayden Deegan out front. Chance didn't get the best of the jump, even though he had a good gate pick, and that was going to cost him. Did his best to move up through the field, but Hayden Deegan was just on a different level today. I felt like he was riding with some determination, and when you listen to him, you know, a lot of people doubt him. He didn't feel like he could win again, you know, in his minds, and he showed these boys. Right now he gets past Nate Thrasher for the lead on the first lap, and that was the last of anybody was going to see him, because Hayden Deegan was not going to do what Jet Lawrence does. He was not letting anybody have any kind of sense of pride and hope at this moment. Then it was Levi Kitchen getting around Seth Handmaker. Seth was good coming off the injury back here. Wasn't on Levi's pace in the beginning. One guy who had some pace all day long was Joe Shimoda, but just like this, he does the same thing in the second moto. It's going to be another day, kind of like Eli Tomac, what could have been for him. And this was Levi Kitchen making his way up into second place, getting around Nate Thrasher, and he would stay there for the rest of the day. But Nate had some tough. He started falling back, but it was good to see Levi up here. And it was Seth Handmaker following his teammate a lap later down these rollers, going to get up the inside of Nate. Good job by Seth to finish third place that first moto. Felt like he did pretty good coming off an injury, but again, nobody was on this guy's level. He was out front pulling away, saving some energy as well. Dude was just on form.
Hymas finishes second in that moto. Or sorry, no, Hymas comes from the back, gets to about 5th. Much better start. And you get that showdown as Michael Mosman goes down. You wanted to see Hymas and Deegan be first and second, and it pretty much happens here. You got Vial, Hymas, another good start for Thrasher, and then somehow Deegan pounces from nowhere.
Yeah, the first couple corners here is always crazy because you got guys deciding to go inside or outside where they want to hit that tunnel jump. And while they were doing that, the number 1 was going around all of them and made some good moves. He actually got around Chance because he was behind him. Then Chance was able to get around Tom Vial for second place. And as you mentioned, the race was on after these guys going 1-1 right here. This is Levi Kitchen finishing second. The first moto gets behind Casey Cochran, runs into him. Doesn't go down, but almost, but that was going to cost him. This was earlier. Watch this move right here. Chance Hymas squares him up, the little scrub, and then the race was on. 2 heavyweight fights, and I believe these 2 are the fastest ones of the field. And this was Julian Beaumer, the first lap going down. Levi Kitchen almost goes down right behind him. Easy thing to happen. They put some water down, slides out. Joe Shimoda, this is for third place, so he was up there. Has a scary moment right here. The back end swaps out, comes back around, and Joe, again, as I mentioned, the first motor, it's going to be a day of what could have, because the number 30 definitely has some pace, but that would cost them for sure. Hayden Deegan, Chance Hymas was on him for a long time, but once he got about 15 minutes, he laid down the hammer and pulled away by the 10-second gap. Nice ride by Hayden Deegan to go 1-1. Chance Hymas had some issues, going to change the podium on the last lap. Let's 16 Tom Vial get around him, and that threw Chance off the podium. He was in second, and he gets passed by Tom Vial, ends up third in that moto, which goes from second overall to 4th.
There he is. And here's the problem. Not only does he lose a spot, but then he leaves the track pointing at his knee, and he looked to be in visible pain. There's Hayden Deegan. with his mom and dad, now has 3 wins in the first 4 rounds. And then Kitchen ends up stealing that final podium spot away from Hymas in the overall, just as Vial took it away in the moto from Hymas as well. Hymas will end up 4th overall. Marchbanks, another solid day, 5th. Shimoda, you mentioned one that got away with crashes in both motos, 6th. Hamaker, Cochran, Thrasher, Smole. It's your top 10. Deegan with the point lead in this class. 42-point lead already because everyone else has had motos and finishes they wish they could have back. So Deegan looking at nearly a 2-moto lead already after just 8 starts this year. And then you can combine those points with the Supercross standings to get this, the SMX World Championship combined, a 100-point gap. Deegan over Shimoda. Vial, Marchbanks, Beaumer, top 5. Quietly effective has been Garrett Marchbanks all year long. All right, let's learn a little more about the Honda camp. Maybe an update on Chance Hymas. Moments ago, Katie Osborne was able to catch up with the Honda team manager, Lars Lindstrom.
Yeah, thanks, Weege. It's a bit of a roller coaster, as always, it seems like, for Team Honda. You get some highs, you get some lows. Riding high with Hunter and Jet. How satisfied would you say you are with that one?
Super satisfied. I mean, I felt bad for Hunter because it was going to be exciting for him to get his first overall in outdoors. But then again, you know, what can you do? Both guys on the podium. Hunter, you know, didn't start off as strong as he was last summer, and we're working really hard to get him to where he's comfortable enough to be that guy again, and he proved it in 1 moto last week and in 2 motos today. So really satisfied with their performance, and for Jet, you know, to get pinched off on the start and then still make it back and make it happen and steal the win from his brother. You know.
Sans the goggles too, really.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what can you say about the kid? You know, he's unreal. So yeah, super stoked for both of our guys.
Meanwhile, at the bottom of the hill of that roller coaster, we had Chance Hymas today. Of course, a lot of talk, a lot of conversation coming into this weekend after last weekend. A lot of high hopes, right? And disappointing to see him pull off holding his knee. What's the latest?
Yeah, super disappointing. It's always a bittersweet kind of deal when these kind of things happen. But yeah, all we know right now is that his right knee is definitely something's going on there. Unfortunately, we know a lot about these injuries, you know, with the other riders that we worked with, and then obviously Jet this year. So I'm not really sure exactly the prognosis, of course, you know, but it seems like the ACL seems intact. But we've said that before. So right now, we just know that his right knee is definitely injured, and we're going to have to go see specialists and see exactly what's going on.
Okay, and lastly, to round out the ride, Joe Shimoda. He was one of those guys, we knew he needed those starts, but man, during the race, he had it. He had that speed today. How would you summarize his performance here at High Point?
Yeah, I mean, he could have been, you know, on the podium for sure. He was really close, but you know, we got to stay on 2 wheels. And when he tipped over in that section, you know, he said he was trying really hard. He was pushing hard, and sometimes you go over the limit, you know. So really proud of him for pushing the limit and really trying to get to the front. You know, the starts weren't there. So that's what we really need to work on, and to make sure that we're able to battle with the guys up front and get back to the podium where we were the first 2 rounds.
Well, as we know, this is racing, right? The little highs, the lows, and everything else in between. Thank you, Lars, for your time, and we'll see you the next time around.
Yes, thank you, Lars, and thank you, Katie. Thanks also, JT, for reporting through all the elements. So that's bad news, potentially, for Chance Hymas, who's gone through 2 ACL surgeries, really, in the last 18 months. And then, as Lars said, they're familiar with it also because Jet Lawrence coming back from ACL surgery. And to Lars's point, we have had riders check to the track. Muscles are still tight. Seems like that's intact. Sometimes it's not, so we don't know. But it's crazy how it keeps rolling for the same 2 guys every weekend, despite everything that happens in between.
Yeah, no, a tough break for Chance, and you go off of his high from last weekend, and then also obviously have an opportunity, the second moto, maybe make a dent in Hayden's confidence, because, you know, the points are going to be the points, but you know, not being able to win, and then what happened with him. So hopefully he's all right. And I got to give Lars a shout out because, you know, all the team managers out there, he's very transparent of what he's saying. I mean, he could have just been like, well, I don't know, you know, we'll just see. But he kind of gives us a little insight on what's going on with Chance. And then last weekend, even with Jet Lawrence between the second moto and first and second moto, or excuse me, a couple weeks ago, where he was talking about his motorcycle, he's like, no, it was really Jet. You know, we didn't really change anything. So, yeah, as you mentioned, when you talk about, you know, Jet Lawrence and Hunter Lawrence, I just go back to the middle of that race when Jet Lawrence almost pulled off for his goggles when he pointed up. And just because of the situation, as he mentioned, he was surprised he got Justin Cooper, surprised he got Aaron Plessinger, because those guys were dealing with their own goggles issues, keeps Jet out there. And I just think about if he wasn't able to get close to Aaron Plessinger, he pulls in, loses the overall, Eli Tomac's the victor, or Hunter Lawrence. And when things are just going right, it's the small details and that your luck just changes, and it just seems like, as you mentioned, everything just continues to go forward and rolling forward for him. So, you know, what can you say? All elements, this guy's been answering the bell and the heat. Anytime Eli's been close to him, he's been able to answer back. And it's another one today that could have easily went sideways, but we walk out of here on Father's Day weekend with both Lawrence boys, Jet Lawrence out front, and, you know, got a week off before we move forward to Southwick.
Yeah, one of the most, or maybe the most unique tracks on the circuit after that weekend off. That'll be the Crestview Construction Southwick National in Massachusetts. Now it's the sand track, but I know it's a lot more elaborate than that. It looks super sandy. The riders will tell you it's slippery underneath. Eli Tomac has had some incredible rides there through the years. So has Jet Lawrence. So this could go any direction, really.
Yeah, no, it can. And the good thing with Eli, when he was talking, you know, on the podium right now, when we got an interview with him, you know, you could tell he was, you know, happy he won, but he knows at the end of the day, he's like, man, I want more. I don't want to just win a moto. I want to beat this kid. But you heard him say he might have found something. So looking forward to another week off. You know, you got to also remember, I know Jet is coming off injury as well, but so is Eli. So as he comes back here, he's going to continue to get better. And prior to that, he hasn't raced outdoors for a couple years. So he's only going to get better. So hopefully if he found something in between these motos, maybe he'll show up at Southwick. As you mentioned, he has some great rides. I think he'll be able to run the Eli Beast mode, the Southwick. Fitness will come in and play a factor. And if you have to put them both, maybe Eli maybe has the advantage over there. We'll find out. But I'm looking forward to the week off, get all these guys healthy, give a little bit of break, and they're going to come back firing for us in a couple weeks at Southwick.
It's been pretty darn fun to watch these races, even though Jet's making it look easy in the winners column. It's been close. Here's a Southwick track map. What do you think when you see this one?
Oh, I think of pain, baby. I think of pain. All the times I've been out there, my tongue's been stuck in my throat, my chain, and, you know, same thing with these guys. But, of course, you know, when you take off the start, actually a right-handed first corner, which always brings in some pilots. But really here, it's a mentality. I feel like when you come to Southwick, it's kind of like a mud race. You got to have the right mindset to know that you're going to be in pain at this race, and the guy who can deal with that the best, and also deal with picking his line, saving his energy over two motos, is going to have the best day out there. So when you got contrasting style, Eli Tomac, Jet Lawrence, these both are going to be very good in sand. Two different ways of being able to do it. I can't wait to get there to watch it next weekend, and I'm sure you guys listen to us, be there with us.
Parts Unlimited upcoming schedule will tell you when you can watch it. Race day live, 10 o'clock Eastern. That's 1 hour of qualifying coverage. Motos begin at 1 o'clock Eastern. 4 straight hours live on Peacock or outside the United States. That's the SuperMotocross Video Pass. Go to supermotocross.tv to subscribe. But in the United States, you can also watch the first moto of the day live on NBC, and that is 450 Moto 1. 450s will race first at Southwick. That's not this upcoming Saturday. It's June 28th. There's a weekend off for the championship upcoming after 4 rounds down. Hayden Deegan, 3 out of 4 in the 250s. Jet Lawrence, 4 out of 4 in the 450s. Wow, you see the highlights from early in the day. Is that bright sunshine? Yeah, it is. But it ended under dark skies and even had to be called a little early due to the weather. But somehow Jet Lawrence kept the goggles on in the rain while others had to stop. And ultimately, he was able to salvage the overall for James Stewart, Katie Osborne, and Jason Thomas. I'm Jason Wygant. We'll see you in 2 weeks at Southwick.
And obviously, we're going to